The morning sun on Kepler 442b cast long shadows across the mining site. Do-hyun Park wiped sweat from his face as he watched the massive drilling machines work. The sound of metal cutting through rock filled the air. It was just another normal day on their small human colony. "Captain Park, you need to see this," called So-min Lee from her scanner. She was the colony's doctor and scientist. Her voice sounded worried. Do-hyun walked over to where So-min stood near the edge of the mining area. She pointed her scanner toward the distant hills. "There's something big out there. It crashed about 2 hours ago." "Crashed? What kind of something?" Do-hyun asked. He took the scanner and looked at the readings. The numbers showed metal and energy signatures he had never seen before. "I think it's a ship, but not human," So-min said quietly. "The metal is strange, and there are life signs." Do-hyun felt his heart beat faster. In the 3 years since they started this mining colony, they had never seen any aliens. Most humans thought they were alone in this part of space. "Are you sure?" "Very sure. 3 life signs, but they're getting weaker." Do-hyun looked back at their small colony. 37 humans lived here, far from Earth and any help. They came here to mine rare metals that Earth needed. Life was hard but peaceful. Now everything might change. "Get Taejun and the medical kit," Do-hyun said. "We're going to take a look." Taejun Kim was their best engineer. He could fix almost anything. If there really was an alien ship, they would need his skills. Within an hour, the 3 of them were driving across the rocky ground in their strongest vehicle. The crash site was worse than So-min's scanner had shown. A ship the size of a small building had smashed into the rocks. Its metal hull was cracked and bent. Strange lights flickered weakly along its sides. Smoke rose from several holes in the ship. "My God," whispered Taejun. "It's real. It's actually real." Do-hyun felt the same shock. After so many years of wondering if humans were alone, here was proof that other intelligent life existed. "So-min, what do your readings show now?" She checked her medical scanner. 3 aliens inside, all hurt badly. Their life signs are dropping. Fast! "Can we get inside?" Do-hyun asked Taejun. The engineer walked around the ship, studying the damage. "There's a hole here big enough for us. But, Captain, we don't know anything about these beings. They could be dangerous. They might carry diseases we can't fight." Do-hyun knew Taejun was right. Contact with unknown aliens could kill them all. But he also knew what his conscience told him. "So-min, professional opinion, if we don't help them, will they die?" "Yes, probably within hours." Do-hyun made his decision. "Then we help them. Get the medical supplies." They squeezed through the hole in the ship's hull. Inside was like nothing they had ever seen. The walls curved in impossible ways. Soft lights pulsed in patterns that seemed to have meaning. And there, lying on the floor, were 3 beings that took Do-hyun's breath away. They looked like giant insects, but beautiful ones. Their bodies were covered in what looked like living crystal that shimmered in the dim light. Each was about the size of a human, but with 4 arms and large eyes that seemed to glow from within. One of them moved weakly when the humans approached. It made sounds that were like music and wind chimes combined. So-min immediately started scanning it with her medical equipment. "Their blood is like liquid metal," she said with wonder. "But I can see the damage, internal injuries, probably from the crash. And this green fluid leaking from their crystal shells, I think that's infection." The injured alien, Do-hyun decided to think of it as he, tried to speak again. This time, a device near his head flickered to life. Words came out in broken human language. "Help! Need help! Children dying!" Do-hyun knelt down next to the alien. "We want to help you. Can you understand me?" The alien's large eyes focused on Do-hyun's face. "You human?" Stories say, humans far away. Yes, we're human. I'm Do-hyun. These are my friends So-min and Tae-jun. What's your name? Kethmore, of the Vallani people. The alien tried to sit up but fell back down. Ship, attacked by raiders. We carry important cargo. Must reach homeworld. Our children, dying without medicine. So-min looked up from her scanner. Captain, I think I can help them. Their biology is different, but not completely alien. I have medicines that might work. Do it, Do-hyun said immediately. For the next 3 days, the humans worked without stopping. So-min used almost all their medical supplies trying to heal the 3 Vallani. Tae-jun crawled through the alien ship, learning how their technology worked so he could repair the most important systems. Do-hyun coordinated everything, making sure his people had what they needed. He also talked with Kethmore, learning about the Vallani and their dying world. The aliens were peaceful people who had never learned to fight well. Raiders attacked them because they were easy targets. Your children, Do-hyun asked on the second day. What's wrong with them? Kethmore's crystal shell dimmed with sadness. Plague kills the young ones. We found medicine, rare genetic material, but raiders wanted it. They attacked. We escaped, but ship badly damaged. Where is this medicine? Now? Safe in ship's heart, protected by our best shields, but ship dying. If we cannot leave soon, medicine will die too. On the third day, So-min announced that all 3 Vallani would live. Tae-jun had managed to repair the ship's basic life support and engines. The aliens would be able to reach their home world. As the Vallani prepared to leave, Kethmore approached Do-hyun. He held something that looked like a crystal egg in his 4 hands. This is memory crystal, Kethmore said. Sacred to Vallani. It holds record of debt between souls. You saved our lives. You saved our children. This debt can never be repaid, but it will never be forgotten. He pressed the crystal into Do-hyun's hands. It felt warm and seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Kethmore, you don't owe us anything. We just did what was right. The alien's shell glowed brighter. That is why debt is sacred. You helped because it was right, not for reward. Vallani, remember this always. If you ever need help, any help, Crystal, will call us. We will come. The 3 Vallani boarded their repaired ship. As it lifted off into the sky, Kethmore sent one last message. Tell your people. Vallani, remember. Always remember kindness. Do-hyun watched the ship disappear into space. In his hands, the memory crystal pulsed gently. He had no idea that this simple act of helping strangers would one day shake the foundations of the galaxy. Life on the colony returned to normal. The humans went back to mining. They talked about the aliens sometimes, but mostly they focused on their work. Do-hyun kept the crystal in his office, sometimes holding it when he needed to make difficult decisions. 2 years passed quietly. Memory of the Vallani began to feel like a strange dream. None of them knew that across the galaxy, Kethmore had delivered the medicine that saved his people's children. None of them knew that their simple act of kindness had been recorded in the most sacred archives of an entire civilization, and none of them knew that this debt of honor would soon be put to the ultimate test. The alarm started screaming at 4 in the morning. Do-hyun jumped out of bed and ran to the colony's command center. So-min was already there, staring at the main display screen with a look of pure terror. Captain, you need to see this, she said, her voice shaking. The screen showed space above their planet, but instead of the usual empty darkness, it was filled with ships. Huge dark warships that blocked out the stars. Do-hyun counted them quickly. 20, 30, 40 ships, more than their small colony could ever fight. How many? Do-hyun asked, though he dreaded the answer. 53 ships total, said Tae-jun from his station. All military, all unknown design. And Captain, they're big. The smallest one is twice the size of anything Earth has ever built. Do-hyun felt ice in his stomach. Have they tried to communicate? Yes, sir. Message coming in. Now, So-Min said. She pressed a button. The main screen changed to show the face of something that was clearly not human. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and teeth like knives. When it spoke, its voice was cold and full of hate. Humans of the Kepler system. I am Admiral Vextar of the Hegemony War Fleet. You have 24 hours to leave this system. Take nothing but your bodies. Any human found here after that time will be destroyed. Do-hyun stepped forward. This is Captain Do-hyun Park of the Kepler 442b mining colony. We claim this system under legal salvage rights recognized by galactic law. We pose no threat to anyone. Why are you doing this? Vexitar's 4 eyes focused on Do-hyun like weapons. Humans expand too fast. You take worlds that belong to others. You make friends with weak species and give them ideas about fighting their betters. The hegemony has decided that humans are a disease that must be stopped. We're just miners. We haven't hurt anyone. All humans are the same. You pretend to be peaceful, but you corrupt everything you touch. This system will become a hegemony military base. Any humans remaining will be slaves or food. The alien smiled, showing more of those terrible teeth. 24 hours, human. Choose wisely. The screen went dark. The command center was silent, for a moment. Then Tai-jun spoke up. Captain, we have 37 people here. Our evacuation ships can only carry 20 at a time, and they're slow. Even if we started right now, we couldn't get everyone out in 24 hours. What about fighting? Asked Hye-jin Park, Do-hyun's sister and the colony's head medic. She had just arrived, still in her sleep clothes. With what? Tae-jun said sadly. We have mining equipment and 3 security guards with hand weapons. They have 53 warships. Do-hyun looked at the people around him. These weren't soldiers. They were miners, doctors, engineers, and scientists. Good people who had come here to build something, not to fight wars. Can we call for help from Earth? So-min shook her head. Our communication array can reach Earth, but the nearest military ships are 6 months away. Even if they came at full speed, it would be too late. What about other colonies? The closest human settlement is 3 months away, and they're even smaller than us. Do-hyun felt the weight of responsibility crushing him. 37 lives depended on his decisions. Start the evacuation anyway. Get the families and non-essential people on the first ships. Send them toward Earth. Captain, said Mi-young Park, their communications specialist. I'm picking up movement from the alien fleet. 3 ships are breaking away from the main group. The main screen showed 3 of the smaller warships moving toward the planet. They were still huge compared to anything the humans had, but they looked fast and dangerous. They're not waiting 24 hours, Do-hyun realized with horror. The first explosion shook the entire colony. Through the windows, they could see a column of fire rising from the direction of the landing pad. The second explosion hit the power plant. The lights went out, and emergency power kicked in with a dim, red glow. They're targeting our infrastructure, Tae-jun shouted over the noise of falling debris. They want us trapped here. The third explosion destroyed the communication array in a shower of sparks and twisted metal. Hye-jin grabbed Do-hyun's arm. The evacuation ships were at the landing pad. Are they? So-min checked her scanner. The pad is gone. The ships are destroyed. No one was on them yet, but... She didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what this meant. They were trapped. Admiral Vextar's voice came over the emergency speakers. Humans, you see how merciful the hegemony is. We could have killed you all with the first shot, but we want this planet undamaged. Surrender now, and some of you may live as slaves. Do-hyun looked around at his people. Fear showed on every face, but also determination. These were humans who had left Earth to build a new life among the stars. They wouldn't give up easily. Emergency Protocol 7, Do-hyun ordered. Everyone to the deep bunkers. Tai-jun, seal all the entrances. So-min, grab all the medical supplies you can carry. Hye-jin, organize the civilians. We're going underground. The next few hours were chaos. The colonists grabbed whatever they could carry and rushed to the underground shelters they had built in case of mining accidents. The bunkers were deep in the rock, protected by thick stone walls and metal doors. As they sealed themselves in, more explosions shook the ground above. Through the periscope, Do-hyun could see alien ships landing. Soldiers in strange armor were spreading out across the colony, searching through the wreckage. "How long can we last down here?" Do-hyun asked Tae-jun. "Air recycling should work for about a week. Food and water for maybe 5 days if we're careful. But, Captain, they have scanners. They'll find us eventually." Do-hyun nodded grimly. He looked around at the 37 humans crowded into the bunker. Families held each other close. The children were trying to be brave, but he could see the fear in their eyes. "Sir," Mi-young said quietly, "I saved this from the communication center before it was destroyed." She held up a small device. "It's a backup transmitter. Short range only, but it might reach orbit. Can you contact the aliens?" "Maybe. But what would we say? They've already decided to kill us." Do-hyun thought about the memory crystal sitting in his destroyed office. He wondered if Kethmore was still alive somewhere among the stars. The alien had promised that the Vellani never forgot a favor. But how could they know what was happening here? How could anyone know? Above ground, the alien soldiers continued their search. Admiral Vextar stood in the ruins of the colony's main building, his 4 eyes scanning the destruction with satisfaction. "Report," he ordered his lieutenant. "No humans found in the buildings, sir. But there are underground areas. Our scanners show life signs deep in the rock." "How deep?" "Very deep, sir. It would take several days to dig them out." Vextar made a sound like grinding metal. "I don't want to waste time on this insignificant colony. Send down the heavy bombardment ships. Turn this entire area into melted rock. If the humans won't surrender, they can die buried in their holes." In the bunker, the humans felt the ground shake as massive ships positioned themselves overhead. Do-hyun realized they had perhaps hours before the final attack began. "Mi-young," he said, "try to reach the alien fleet. Maybe we can negotiate." She activated the transmitter. "Admiral Vextar, this is Captain Park. We want to talk." The response came immediately. "Humans, you have one chance. Come out with your hands visible. Kneel on the ground. Perhaps some of you will be allowed to live as servants. And if we refuse, then you will die. But you will die slowly as we melt the rock around you. Choose quickly, human. My patience is ending." Do-hyun looked at his people again. He saw So-min holding a crying child. He saw Tae-jun trying to comfort an old man who was having trouble breathing. He saw his sister Hae-jin checking on everyone's medical condition. These people had trusted him to lead them. Now he had to make the hardest decision of his life: surrender, and probably watch them all die as slaves, or refuse and definitely watch them all die in fire. He was about to answer when something impossible happened. Every piece of electronic equipment in the bunker suddenly came to life. Lights flashed, screens showed strange symbols, and through it all, a familiar musical voice spoke words that made Do-hyun's heart skip a beat. "Do-hyun Park of the Human Colony. This is Kethmore of the Vellani. We have received your call for help. We are coming. Stay alive. The debt will be honored." 3 star systems away from Kepler 442b, the Vellani homeworld pulsed with life. The planet's surface was covered in crystal cities that grew like living things toward the sky. In the largest city, Elder Zithara felt something she had never experienced before. The memory crystal network was screaming. Every sacred crystal on the planet began to glow at the same time. The light was so bright that it could be seen from space. In the great temple at the planet's center, thousands of crystals sang together in harmony. But this was not a song of joy. It was a song of debt and honor under attack. Elder Zithara rushed to the temple's heart, where the greatest memory crystal in Vellani history waited. This crystal contained every debt of honor their people had ever recorded. As she touched it, images flooded her mind. She saw Do-hyun Park kneeling beside Kethmore in a broken ship. She saw So-min Lee working for days to heal wounded Vellani. She saw Tae-jun Kim crawling through alien technology, learning how to save lives. She felt their kindness like warm sunlight on her crystal shell. Then she saw the present. Human ships attacking the colony. Do-hyun and his people trapped underground facing death. The debt crystal was calling for justice. Emergency Council! Zithara's voice echoed through every crystal city on the planet. The humans who saved our children are dying. Within an hour, every adult Vellani on the planet knew the story. The rescue of Kethmore and his crew had become legend among their people. Songs were written about the humans who helped without asking for payment. Children played games about the brave aliens who shared their medicine with strangers. Now those same humans needed help. Commander Yethnal of the Vellani fleet stood before the Emergency Council. Elder, we are not warriors. We have merchant ships and research vessels. We cannot fight a military fleet. Then we do not fight alone, Zithara said. Her shell glowed with determination. Send the ancient call to every species we have ever helped. Tell them the humans who saved our future face extinction. Ask them to remember their own debts. The message that went out from the Vellani homeworld was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. It traveled through quantum networks that connected dozens of worlds. It reached species that had not spoken to each other in centuries, and everywhere it went, it carried the same simple words: honor demands action. On the water world of Tidalrim, the aquatic people called the Tidalrin received the message while swimming in their deepest oceans. Their leader, flow singer Nalth, had been saved by Vellani medicine when plague struck their world 50 years ago. He gave the order immediately. Launch every ship, the debt calls. In the energy fields near the galaxy's core, the beings called Fluxhi existed as living electricity. They rarely cared about physical worlds or solid beings. But they remembered when Vellani biotechnology helped them survive a solar storm that would have destroyed their entire species. The collective voice of the Fluxhi rang across space. We answer the call. The hive-minded Stel-Kar received the message on 1,000 worlds at once. Their species thought as one giant brain spread across the galaxy. Normally, they ignored the problems of individual species, but the Vellani had given them the genetic tools to survive a virus that attacked their shared mind. In perfect synchronization, 10,000 Stel-Kar ships began moving toward Kepler 442b. Even the mysterious Void Walkers heard the call. These ancient beings traveled between dimensions and rarely interfered in normal space, but they owed the Vellani a debt from the early days of galactic civilization. Ships that looked like living shadows began emerging from places that should not exist. As word spread, more species joined the growing fleet. The rock-like granite people who moved slowly but were nearly impossible to destroy. The gaseous wind dancers who could slip through any defense. The tiny but brilliant spark folk who built machines that thought faster than organic minds. Commander Yethnal watched the impossible fleet gathering in space around the Vellani homeworld. Elder, we have over 200 ships now, but they've never worked together before. They don't even use the same communication systems. They don't need to communicate, Zithara said calmly. They all understand debt. They all understand honor. That will be enough. But even as the great fleet prepared to leave, another message reached them. This one came from much closer to Earth, and it brought both hope and urgency. Captain Jin Woo, Choi of the Earth Defense Force, had been patrolling the outer colonies when he received a strange transmission. It came through channels he had never seen before, in a language his computers could barely translate. But the meaning was clear. Humans were under attack, and aliens were coming to help. Jin Woo commanded a small fleet of 12 human warships. They were new and well-armed, but they had never fought a real battle. When he saw the size of the alien fleet gathering at the Vellani homeworld, he made a decision that changed galactic history. All ships set course for Kepler 442b. Maximum speed. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Da-Un Kim, looked at him with worry. Sir, we don't know anything about these aliens. They could be as dangerous as the hegemony. Maybe, Jinwoo said, but they're trying to save human lives. That makes them friends in my book. As the human and alien fleets raced toward Kepler 442b, Admiral Vextar was growing impatient. His sensors had detected the underground humans, but digging them out was taking longer than expected. His superiors in the hegemony were demanding that he finish this job and move on to the next target. Status report, he growled at his lieutenant. The deep bombardment is ready, sir. We can melt the rock down to the human bunkers within 6 hours. Do it. I want this planet cleared for our base construction. But as the hegemony ships prepared for the final attack, their long-range sensors began picking up something impossible. Ships were approaching the system. Lots of ships. Sir, the sensor operator called. I'm reading multiple fleets entering the outer system. Configuration unknown. Numbers. Sir, I count over 200 ships. Vextar felt a chill in his 4 hearts. 200? What species has that many ships? Unknown, sir. The designs are all different. It looks like ships from dozens of different species all traveling together. For the first time since arriving at Kepler 442b, Admiral Vextar felt uncertainty. The hegemony was powerful because they conquered species one at a time. They had never faced a united fleet of multiple alien races. In the bunkers below ground, the humans felt the bombardment begin. The rock around them grew hot as energy beams tried to melt their way down. Children cried as the walls shook. Adults held each other close, knowing they might have only hours to live. Do-hyun stood near the communication station, still amazed by Kethmore's message. The Vallani had somehow known they were in danger, but how could any rescue fleet arrive in time? Captain, Mi-young called from her station. I'm picking up multiple ship signatures entering the system. Lots of them. Hegemony reinforcements? No. Sir, the configurations are all wrong. These ships... She paused, checking her readings again. These ships don't match any known military fleet. Through the periscope, Do-hyun could see hegemony soldiers running back to their ships. Emergency lights flashed on the alien warships as they powered up their weapons. Something was happening that had scared them. Then the voice of Admiral Vextar came over the emergency channel, but now he sounded different. Worried, angry. Unknown fleet, identify yourselves. You are entering hegemony space. Withdraw immediately or face destruction. The answer came back in a voice that Do-hyun recognized. Elder Zithara of the Vallani, speaking in perfect galactic standard. Admiral, Vextar of the hegemony. We are here to honor a debt. The humans you attack saved our children and our future. We have come to save theirs. You dare threaten the hegemony fleet? We do not threaten. We promise. Release the humans and leave this system. This is your only warning. Vextar's laugh was like breaking glass. You think I fear a bunch of peaceful traders? I have 53 warships. You have merchants and research vessels. We have something. You do not understand, Zithara replied calmly. We have friends. That was when the impossible fleet dropped out of hyperspace. The Tidalren ships rode waves of gravity that bent space around them. The flux-high vessels crackled with electrical energy that made space itself glow. The Stelkar fleet moved with perfect coordination, like one giant organism. The Void Walkers emerged from dimensions that hurt to look at, and at the center of it all, the crystal ships of the Vallani sang their ancient songs of honor and debt. Do-hyun watched through the periscope as 53 hegemony warships suddenly faced the largest fleet in galactic history. 212 ships from 37 different species, all united by one simple idea. Kindness deserved protection. But the greatest surprise was yet to come. As the alien fleet took position, 12 more ships appeared at the edge of the system. These ships were different from all the others. These ships were human. Captain Jinwoo Choi's voice came over the communication system. Admiral Vextar, this is the Earth Defense Force. You are attacking human citizens. Stand down immediately. In the bunker, So-min started crying with relief. Taejun cheered. Heejin hugged her brother tightly. They were no longer alone. Above them, Admiral Vextar stared at his tactical display with growing horror. He had come to destroy a small mining colony. The space around Kepler 442b became an arena of impossible sights. Admiral Vextar had fought many battles, conquered many worlds, but he had never seen anything like this. His 53 warships faced a fleet that defied every rule of military science. The Tidalrin ships moved like dolphins through water, except the water was space itself. They rode waves of gravity that his sensors could barely detect. Their hulls were smooth and blue, shaped like the sea creatures of their homeworld. The flux-high vessels didn't look like ships at all. They were clouds of living electricity that pulsed with their own light. As Vextar watched, one of them passed right through an asteroid, completely unharmed. The Stelkar fleet was the most frightening. Thousands of small ships moved as if controlled by a single mind. They formed patterns that shifted and changed like a living thing. When one ship moved, all the others moved with it. But it was the Voidwalker ships that made Vextar's 4 hearts skip beats. They appeared and disappeared without warning. Sometimes they seemed solid, sometimes they looked like shadows. His targeting systems couldn't lock onto them. "Sir," his lieutenant said in a shaking voice. "Orders?" Vextar looked at his tactical display. The alien fleet had completely surrounded his ships. They weren't attacking yet, but they were clearly ready for battle. And somewhere among all those strange vessels, 12 human warships waited with weapons charged. "Open a channel to the entire fleet," Vextar growled. "All ships, maximum power. To weapons. We are the hegemony. We do not retreat from inferior species." But even as he gave the order, doubt crept into his mind. His ships were designed to fight conventional battles against conventional enemies. How do you shoot at electricity? How do you hit a target that exists in multiple dimensions? Elder Zithara's voice came through the communication system one more time. "Admiral, you have seen our numbers. You have seen our diversity. We do not wish to destroy your ships, but we will if necessary. Withdraw now! Never!" Vextar snarled. "All ships, open fire!" The battle began with a symphony of different weapons. Hegemony ships fired energy beams that could melt mountains. The beams struck the Tidalrin vessels and bent around them like water flowing around rocks. The gravity fields that protected the blue ships turned the deadly energy into harmless light. Flux-high ships responded by flowing like lightning into the hegemony formation. They passed through shields, as if the barriers didn't exist, then released electrical bursts that shut down power systems from the inside. Hegemony ships went dark one by one as their own weapons turned against them. The Stelkar attack was beautiful and terrifying. Thousands of small ships moved in perfect coordination, attacking different targets at exactly the same moment. It was like watching a school of fish, but each fish was armed with weapons that could destroy a building. Voidwalker ships appeared inside the hegemony formation, fired a single shot, then disappeared before return fire could reach them. They attacked from directions that shouldn't exist, hitting targets from angles that made no sense. In the underground bunker, the humans felt the planet shake as battle raged above them. Do-hyun watched through the periscope as lights flashed across the sky. Ships moved in patterns that hurt to watch. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers among the stars. "Captain," Mi-young called from her station. "I'm receiving a message from the Villani flagship." Elder Zithara's musical voice filled the bunker. "Humans of Kepler 442b, this is Elder Zithara. You are safe now. The hegemony will not harm you." How can you be sure? Do-hyun asked. Because they have never fought anything like this before. Watch! Through the periscope, Do-hyun saw something incredible happening. The alien fleet wasn't just winning the battle. They were dancing through it. Each species used their unique abilities in ways that complemented the others. When hegemony ships tried to target the Fluxhigh, the Tidal Rin bent their weapons' aim. When the hegemony attempted to track the Voidwalkers, the Stelkar created false sensor readings that confused their computers. When hegemony shields adapted to one type of attack, 3 other types hit them immediately. Captain Jinwoo Choi's human ships joined the battle with their own style. Earth's weapons were conventional, but they were new and well-designed. More importantly, the human captains were creative. They used tactics the hegemony had never seen before, coordinating with alien ships in ways that shouldn't have been possible. This is insane, Lieutenant Da-Yoon Kim said from her position on Jinwoo's ship. We're fighting alongside species we've never met before, and somehow it's working. It's working because we all want the same thing, Jinwoo replied as he watched. A Fluxhigh ship disabled 3 hegemony vessels at once. We want to protect innocent people. Admiral Vextar watched his fleet fall apart around him. In 30 years of military service, he had never seen anything like this. His ships were individually powerful, but they fought like individuals. The alien fleet fought like a living organism where every part supported every other part. Sir, we've lost 18 ships, his lieutenant reported. Another 12 are badly damaged. The alien casualties are minimal. Vextar's tactical display showed the terrible truth. His conventional military formation was being torn apart by enemies who didn't follow conventional rules. The hegemony way of war was based on superior firepower and intimidation. But superior firepower meant nothing if your weapons couldn't hit their targets. And it was hard to intimidate enemies who had no fear. Sir, the communications officer called. We're receiving messages from other hegemony fleets across the galaxy. They're all reporting the same thing. Multi-species fleets are attacking hegemony positions everywhere. Vextar felt his world collapse. Everywhere? Yes, sir. It appears every species the Vellani have ever helped is joining this fight. The reports mention the Granite People, the Wind Dancers, the Spark Folk. Dozens of species we've never seen work together before. On his main screen, Vextar watched a Voidwalker ship emerge from nowhere and disable his flagship's sister ship with a single impossible shot. The hegemony had built their empire on the principle that alien species would never unite against them. That principle had just proven catastrophically wrong. Admiral, Elder Zithara's voice came through the speakers again. You have lost. Your ships are outmatched, and your empire is under attack across the galaxy. Order your remaining vessels to withdraw, and we will allow you to leave. Vextar wanted to refuse. His pride, his training, everything he believed in, told him to fight to the death. But he was also responsible for the lives of his crews, and deep in his 4 hearts, he knew the truth. The hegemony had made a terrible mistake. All ships, he said quietly, cease fire. Withdraw to minimum safe distance. The remaining hegemony vessels pulled back, their weapons powering down. The alien fleet maintained their positions, but also stopped shooting. In the sudden silence of space, Do-hyun could hardly believe what had just happened. Did we win? Tai-jun asked in amazement. I think we did, Do-hyun replied, but I'm not sure how. Elder Zithara answered his question. You won because you showed kindness to strangers 2 years ago. You won because you proved that different species can work together. You won because you taught the galaxy that friendship is stronger than fear. Captain Jinwoo's voice joined the conversation. Colonists of Kepler 442b, this is Captain Choi of the Earth Defense Force. Are you injured? Do you need medical assistance? We're okay, Do-hyun said. Scared, but okay. Thank you for coming. Thank the Vellani. They sent the message that brought us here. They told us that humans were worth saving. Through the periscope, Do-hyun could see the impossible fleet that had come to rescue them. Ships from dozens of worlds, all different, all unique, but all united in one purpose. They had come because of a simple act of kindness performed 2 years ago. Admiral Vextar appeared on the communication screen one last time. His 4 eyes held a mixture of defeat and confusion. Humans, I do not understand you. The hegemony has studied your species for decades. You appear weak, you have no great weapons, no powerful military, yet somehow you have built the largest alliance in galactic history. How? Do-hyun thought about the question. He looked around at his people, miners and doctors and engineers who had risked their lives to help injured strangers. Maybe that's exactly how we did it, he said. We don't have great weapons, so we make great friends instead. Vexitar's image flickered and disappeared. The remaining hegemony ships began their retreat, leaving the system forever. In the bunker, 37 humans hugged each other and cried, with relief. Above them, over 200 alien ships from 37 different worlds maintained protective formation around their planet. The Battle of Kepler 442b was over. The war for the galaxy's future was just beginning. 3 months after the Battle of Kepler 442b, President Daeun Kim of the Earth Federation stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest space station. Through the massive windows, she could see something that still amazed her every day. Ships from dozens of different worlds working together to build a new future. The station orbited Kepler 442b, and its construction had been the fastest project in galactic history. Volani biotechnology shaped the living metal walls. Tidalrin gravity manipulators held the massive structure together. Flux-high electrical systems powered everything with clean energy. Stelcar computer networks managed information flow with perfect efficiency, and human engineering tied it all together. Madam President, Elder Zithara said as she approached. The Volani leader had become a regular visitor to the station. The morning briefing is ready. Daeun nodded and followed Zithara to the main conference room. The table was large, enough to accommodate beings from 30 different species. Some sat in chairs, some floated in energy fields, some existed as patterns of light on special screens. Captain Do-hyun Park, now promoted to governor of the Kepler system, sat at the head of the table. Next to him was Dr. So-min Lee, who had become the first director of interspecies medical exchange. The woman who had once treated 3 injured Volani with basic human medicine now coordinated healthcare for dozens of worlds. Status report, Do-hyun requested. Flow singer Nalth of the Tidalrin spoke first, his words rippling like water. The hegemony's 3rd Fleet tried to attack the Coral Gardens last week. Our combined task force defeated them easily. No casualties? On our side. Spark Mind. Zextal, a being made of tiny lights that formed words in the air, reported next. Hegemony forces retreated from 12 systems this month. Their member species are questioning their leadership. Some are asking to join our cooperation council instead. The news was the same everywhere. The hegemony, which had once seemed unstoppable, was falling apart. The Battle of Kepler 442b had proven that their military advantage meant nothing when dozens of species worked together. More importantly, it had shown the galaxy that there was an alternative to conquest and domination. What about the refugee situation? President Daeun asked. Commander Yethnal of the Volani answered. Over 2 million beings have fled hegemony space in the past month. They are seeking protection in cooperation council systems. We have enough space and resources for all of them, thanks to our combined efforts. This was the miracle that amazed everyone. When 37 different species shared their resources and knowledge, scarcity disappeared. The Volani could grow food in places where nothing had lived before. The Tidalrin could create water from the hydrogen in space. The Flux-high could provide unlimited clean energy. The granite people could build cities that lasted forever. And humans? Humans were the organizers, the diplomats, the ones who helped. Everyone else worked together. Speaking of cooperation, Elder Zithara said, we have a special guest today. The main screen activated to show a familiar but changed face. It was Admiral Vex Tar, but he looked different. His gray skin had lost its harsh color. His 4 eyes showed uncertainty instead of hatred. He was no longer wearing the black uniform of the hegemony. Humans, Vex Tar said, his voice much quieter than before. I request permission to speak. Do Hyun looked around the table. Several species had suffered under hegemony rule. Some might want revenge, but he saw only curiosity in their faces. Permission granted, Do Hyun said. Vex Tar took what might have been a deep breath. 3 months ago, I came to your world to destroy you. I believed the hegemony's teachings that strength came from conquest, that peace was weakness, that different species could never truly cooperate. He paused, looking directly at Do Hyun through the screen. I was wrong about everything. What changed your mind? President Dae-Yun asked. I have spent these months watching what you built here. I have seen former enemies become friends. I have seen species that have never met before sharing their greatest discoveries. I have seen the galaxy become richer and safer for everyone. Vex Tar's voice grew stronger. The hegemony taught us to take from others. You have taught the galaxy to give to each other. Flow singer Nalth rippled with curiosity. What are you asking for, former Admiral? Asylum, Vex Tar said simply, and the chance to help undo the damage I have done. I have information about hegemony military bases, supply lines, and planned attacks. I want to help you protect innocent people. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Do Hyun spoke. What about your crews? The soldiers who served under you? Many have already defected to the Cooperation Council. Others are asking for safe passage to neutral space. The hegemony, as we knew it, is dying, Governor Park. Your kindness is killing it more effectively than any weapon could. Elder Zithara's crystal shell glowed with warmth. The Cooperation Council was built on the principle that everyone deserves a second chance, even former enemies. The vote was unanimous. Vex Tar and his followers would be granted asylum in exchange for their help in dismantling the hegemony's war machine. After the meeting, Do Hyun walked to his favorite spot on the station, a garden where Vellani biotechnology had created earth plants that grew alongside flowers from dozens of other worlds. So-Min found him there, as she often did when he needed to think. Hard to believe, isn't it? She said, sitting next to him on a bench made of living wood. What part? The space station, the Alliance, or the fact that we accidentally started a galactic revolution by helping some injured strangers? So-Min laughed. All of it. Sometimes I think about that day 2 years ago when we found Kethmore's crashed ship. If we had made a different choice? But we didn't, Do Hyun said. We did what felt right. And somehow that was exactly what the galaxy needed. Through the garden's transparent walls, they could see ships arriving and departing constantly. Vellani medical ships carrying healing technology to distant worlds. Tidalrin exploration vessels mapping new star systems for settlement. Flux-High research ships studying the mysteries of energy and matter, and human ships carrying diplomats and teachers and engineers to every corner of known space. Governor Park, came a familiar musical voice. Kethmore appeared among the alien flowers, his crystal shells shimmering in the garden's soft light. He had become the official Vellani ambassador to the Cooperation Council. Hello, old friend, Do Hyun said. How are the reconstruction efforts going? Better than we dared hope. The former hegemony worlds are adapting quickly to cooperative government. Turns out most beings prefer peace to war when given the choice. Kethmore's shell pulsed with satisfaction. I have news from the council vote. So-Min leaned forward. What did they decide? Unanimous agreement. Kepler 442b will become the permanent capital of the Cooperation Council. This station will be expanded to accommodate representatives from every member species. Kethmore's eyes glowed brighter. Congratulations, Governor. You are now the mayor of the galaxy's most important city. Du-Hyun felt dizzy. I'm just a mining engineer from Earth. I never wanted to be a politician. That is exactly why you are. Perfect for the job, Kethmore said. You do not seek power. You seek to help others. That is what the galaxy needs now. As if to prove his point, the station's communication system activated. Tae-Jun Kim's voice came through the speakers. Governor, we have visitors at Docking Bay 12. A delegation from the Spiral Republic wants to join the Cooperation Council. Du-Hyun sighed and stood up. The Spiral Republic? I've never heard of them. New species, discovered last week at the edge of known space, Tae-Jun explained. They heard about what we're doing here and traveled 3 months to find us. This was happening more and more often. As news of the Cooperation Council spread, species that had hidden from galactic politics for centuries were coming forward. They wanted to be part of something that offered friendship instead of conquest. I'll be right there, Do-Hyun said. He looked back at So-min and Kethmore. Want to come meet our new neighbors? As they walked toward the docking bay, they passed a construction area where the station was being expanded again. Workers from a dozen different species labored side by side, building something that had never existed before, a place where every intelligent species in the galaxy could meet as equals. In the center of the construction area, a monument was being built. It was made from crystal donated by the Villani, shaped by Tidalran gravity art, and powered by flux high energy. But the words carved into it were in simple human language, translated into every known script. In memory of a simple act of kindness that shook the foundations of tyranny and proved that the galaxy's greatest strength lies not in the might of the few, but in the bonds between the many. At the base of the monument sat the original memory crystal that Kethmore had given Do-Hyun 2 years ago. It pulsed gently with warm light, surrounded by hundreds of similar crystals from every species that had joined the alliance. Du-Hyun paused to touch the original crystal as he did every day. It felt warm under his fingers, alive with the memory of that first act of kindness that had changed everything. Do you think it will last? So-min asked quietly. This peace we've built? I don't know, Do-Hyun admitted. But I know this. We've proven that cooperation is stronger than conquest. We've shown the galaxy that different doesn't mean enemy.